Hey, welcome back. This would be, I believe, episode 10. Kind of weird calling them episodes. I feel like I've reached a goal here, but I'm kind of not. I've still got to get this thing buttoned up to get it on the road. So there's a few things I still have to do. So I'm going to continue on and recording these videos for y'all. First things first, I got a package in the mail. Let's do a little mail call here and open up this package. Let's check out what came in the box. All right. I don't think that did anything. Here we go. Here we go. A bit of a homemade top on this box. All right, we got a lot of packaging. Awesome. That's always good whenever you find something that's been packaged well. Paperwork. We like paperwork too. Yeah. It's a box inside a box. But this box is a fancy red box. Oh my goodness. All right. I feel like I just got a big order of chicken or something from KFC. Maybe Church's chicken or something. You think it is? I know what this is. I'm just trying to determine how I'm going to open it. I think I need to set it on its end and open it from over here. Racing Power Company. Okay, I'm going to pull it up here on top. Let's see what we've got. Piece of tape. And another box. So inside the red box is a white box. See if I can do this. Come on, baby. Don't you drop. Okay. And this big white box, I sit like that. Let's put this box away. Got a piece of tape down here on the bottom. All right. Yes, it is definitely the kit that I ordered. Get a few things out of the way. And it's kind of all upside down. Got some little parts like this. Anybody can guess, huh? How about this? This will really help you. Yeah, we know what this is, right? I'm going to get the main part out here. Is it full of stuff? It is full of stuff. This is the bug catcher is what they call this. Wow, that's actually been welded. Very large chrome bug catcher. It's huge. Man alive, I hope this fits. Anyways, this goes on the carburetor. A bunch of stuff in here. Some extra plates, that's awesome. So let's take a look. Really, really cool. I like it a lot. I think this is something I've dreamt of as a child. Having one of these with the big red butterfly valves on it, that's just that much closer to being a dragster. Anyways, I don't want to waste that much gas, so we're not going to do the full blower, but I like this, and this might be the solution to having an air cleaner on the car. It's a little drastic, I know, but yeah, let's see how this goes. I think this is going to be something I really enjoy. It's going to take a bit of work on my end, but that's mail call. We'll see if we can't get some more video of it on the car somehow. Nice. All right, so I'm very happy with that piece came in the mail. Now, right quick, this is going to be, should be really quick. I'm going to take this thing. Y'all remember it has this great big gouge in the bottom of it. Don't necessarily have to have this on the car to drive around, but it's one of those pieces that it goes on the car. It's manufactured that way for a reason. I don't know why they had this on the car, but they did. So what I've done was I've stopped and got some weather stripping. It's got an adhesive little back on it, and this is for like your windows and stuff at home. And what my idea is, I'm going to take this weather stripping and I'm going to lay it right along this edge, and that's about how much I want to space it. I'm going to use the bolts and I'm probably going to stack some washers on this to space it away from the car. And the washers aren't going to be as tall as this foam, so it's going to crush the foam down just a little bit, make a little bit of an air seal. I don't know why I'm going to do this, but I'm going to, because I feel like that's what it needs. Anyways, that's going to be a real quick project. I can do this, just a couple of strips here. I'm going to clean off the surface, get this adhesive to stick. Then I can put that on the car. And yeah, let me go ahead and clean that off. Let me grab myself a rag of some type. There we go. And what to clean that with? I always keep a can of brake parts cleaner. This cleans everything. If you don't have this, just some alcohol will be good. I spray it on the rag so I can control what it gets. Oh yeah, see, that's going to be super clean now. And just like that, clean. And put this up here, get it out of my way, and I'm going to get my scissors out of the toolbox. And we are just going to, it seems like there's adhesive on one side or two. Looks like one side. So I'm going to peel it up like so. Give me a strip about the length that I want. About there. And I'm going to lay that on there like so. And turn it towards the engine. And I'm going to cut off the excess. Can y'all see that? No. Let me help y'all out with the camera. A little bit better. So yeah, I just place this on here, and there's no adhesive there, and now I've got myself a nice little foam cushion. And I will do this other side, and maybe a strip right across. I maybe just here and here. This probably isn't necessary, but I'm gonna do it anyways. I'm cutting this a bit long and throwing it on the floor. Stick that on there like so. Peel this off, turn, go that way. So I had to peel this paper off, otherwise it wouldn't bend that direction. This paper was keeping it from doing that. All right, and I'm just going to cut off the excess right there. Awesome. Well, I really like that. I don't think I need much more. It's just going to help balance things out. Yeah. I just know it needs to go straight down. So I might have to drill out these holes, because if it goes straight down, those holes should be okay. We'll try it anyways. So I'm going to try it like that. Let me find some washers, and I'll try to get underneath there and replace that. Meanwhile, when I get that done, I'm going to hit on to that bug catcher, put it on the car, and let y'all see how that looks. So we'll be getting right to that. Alright, so I've got some blue tape out here, and I've kind of mapped out the engine compartment a little bit here. And I'm going to spin this around to the front side of the car, looking towards the windshield, so you can see just how far off center the engine is. So if I come around to the nose, get straight in line with that blue tape, and that is where the center of the car is. So now my dilemma is, I've got this hood scoop that's going to come through the hood, and it's going to be sitting towards the passenger side. So that's going to look a little awkward. From this angle, you probably couldn't tell. So is it that big a deal? That's a good question. And do I want to center this new bug catcher? Let's take a look over here at the bench where I have the bug catcher sitting. I've done a little bit of assembly to the front of it. It's got the butterfly valves in there. They're working nice. Yay! I did something to this which we got to use a lot of caution on. When you look in there, I have a little black grommet on that side and on that side. That did not come with the kit. That's something I put in there because this thing, this shaft, would move back and forth this way by a 1/4 of an inch. It still kind of has a little play, if you're, see what I mean, but it moves freely. And the important part is that you don't get something in there that'll get into a bind, because this is going to be attached to your throttle cable linkage, and you stomp on it and open this thing up and it gets stuck, your throttle is stuck wide open. You're not stopping because of these butterfly valves. So that's something important to know. So it's supposed to be a little bit stiff, but not where it's going to bind up. And I think I've got it there. So let's go ahead and put this thing on the car. So I'm going to take a second and put it on the car. And just like that, it's on the car, and it's not sitting exactly square. Something about that is square with the car. Now it looks like it's not square with the motor, just a little bit, because the motor is technically facing that direction. So the question is, it's got to rise up a little bit. This tape here is running perfectly flat across there, somewhat. The hood does arch up a little bit in the center, so it's going to rise about 1.5 inches. So the whole thing's got to go up 1.5 inches, and to the passenger side by that much. Is it worth all that effort? Can I make that happen? That's the question. So if I do all that work and build a custom bracket to lift it up off the carburetor and scoot it over and still plumb and be airtight, is it worth all that work? Is it going to cause some weird vortex air gap thing that's going to mess with my engine's performance? I don't know. One thing I did want to look in here, the carburetor does stick up through there just a bit. I don't think I can get the lighting to help you. Yes, right back up in there, you can see there's the carburetor sticking up through the center. Okay, well, that is where I stand. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to use this cardboard I have over here to build myself some type of bracket to lift this thing up about 1.5 inches and scoot it over. I have to do that on the bench over there. So that's what I'm going to do. Let's see what happens. Okay, so I'm on the workbench here, and what I'm going to do is be looking at, this is the parts that came with this, and there's just 2 metal plates here, and I actually have 2 of these, and this thing bolts on 4 bolts. So what I have to do is I have to move this towards this blue tape, and I have a little bit of room to play with. I can get this to move by itself, but I also have to raise this up. Let me spend 1 second. Let me go online, see if I can find a piece that is already made for this to raise these things up. I bet they have something. I've already looked. I'm already worried about the intake. You're going down the road and it starts raining, all you're doing is letting water go straight into your carburetor. So I'm already been looking for some way to cover this up, yet let air come in some other way so that I can still ride this Corvette home if I'm trying to get from somewhere out of town and I hit a rainstorm. Yeah, I'm gonna take 1 second, look this part up, see if I can find something new. Okay, so After looking at the hood, measuring the distance, and laying a straight edge across the hood and seeing the arc of it and finding out how tall I need to go, I need 2 inches. 2 inches in the front and less than that in the back, but the front's the most important. The back isn't trying to draw air in, this is. So when the air's going in the front side, I know y'all probably can't see that. When the air's coming in the front side, you want the whole scoop outside above the hood. Now the top of the hood isn't flat, it arches, so the center is just going to clear the top of the hood, and the sides are going to be just above the hood, just a little bit. So what I've done here was I've inverted this piece that fits on the carburetor. This bottom edge in here used to be on the top, and that's what sat on the carburetor. I inverted it so that I can maybe make a little, I don't know, sleeve of some kind. Anyways, I think I'm gonna fabricate something, because what I'm wanting, you can't buy. They don't have one specifically for a Corvette, and so what I'm looking at here is being able to make this. I'm gonna assume right about there. It's a good knife. Okay, let's see if that fits in there. Bend that. Oh yeah, we like that. Okay, this is going to give me my height. I still have to work on getting this carburetor to go this direction, and so one, the height is ready, and then I can move it over. Second, that does sit on there. I think it'll hold the weight and everything. Let me tape this together before I get ahead of myself, and I'll set this back on the car and see how that looks. Okay, so we're looking at the side of it, and you can see the cardboard in there. It's held it up a lot higher, and I've actually moved from the center to here with the carburetor, scooting the whole air cleaner back some. I wanted to do that because of where it would land on the hood, and you can see I've got clearance issues. I might need to go a little taller in the back, so now I know. Actually, it just depends. I can add a bracket to the front that helps stabilize. So a 4-piece cardboard, that's not bad. Off center just a little bit. Now right now you might think, well, you might be just overthinking it, but once you put that air cleaner through the hood, you're going to see it drastically due to these accents and the centerpiece here. That's how I'm going to know it's going to be sitting way closer to that line over there than this line over here. And this is where the air cleaner was sitting if I didn't move the carburetor forward on it, scooting the air cleaner back. So now the air cleaner is going to sit to right about there. Let's just scoot back a little bit, because I didn't want that air cleaner, I didn't want to have to cut right here. I just felt like it's too close to this design. I want it back further. Anyways, that's where I'm at with that. All right, so far so good. I just want to try and create some way of scooting the air cleaner over. Now I'm going to have to scratch my head on that. Okay, I've got it squared up as best I can. I added a couple of blue pieces of tape here and here, and one on the back side. That's going to be a reference for me once I flip it upside down, how far I've got to shift the whole thing over, and let's see how this works. Yeah, wow, I don't know how I'm going to get this to lift up. It might be complicated, guys. It might be complicated. All right, well, I did look online, and I did find a couple of products out there that can lift up the air cleaner for you, and some of them, they're just not going to work. But nevertheless, we will take a look at this, and I'm going to see what I can do here. Yeah, let's see how this works. Okay, so this is where the air cleaner, where the carburetor will be mounted to get this square with the hood. That's a little bit off. and I don't think it's going to really hurt really the CFM on it as the air is drawn. I don't know if you remember, this was the air filter, and if this was enough air filter for a 4-barrel carburetor pulling 750 CFM, then yeah. What I would like to do is I have measured the square hole in this, and I have found a couple of K&N filters that are flat rectangles, and what I'm going to look at doing is putting the air filter inside here on top of all of this, and then having it draw air through the air filter. It'd be a bigger air filter that way. Wow, it's about like the same thing in there. I know from experience and being taught by someone who knows a lot about cars. Let me stop right here and tell you, I don't know everything about cars. Most of the time I do check in the internet. I don't get all my answers there either. There's a lot of times it leaves me hanging. I have a lot of guys in the community that are car guys that know a lot about cars. Some of them are family members. Some of them are just buddies. But nevertheless, it helps if you have someone you can ask that knows everything that you're really needing to know without getting some off information from the internet or somebody putting information on the internet that's wrong. Anyways, with that said, I've been taught a long time ago from someone who knows a lot that little bitty air cleaner will not be enough. The larger your air cleaner, the better you are, because what's happening is you got this surface of an air cleaner that gets dirty, and the smaller it is, the faster it gets dirty and clogged up, and the richer you start burning fuel through the carburetor. It's like having the choke on. So you want a large air filter. That's really important. So with that said, I'm gonna try to get a larger air filter and divert this to where it's going over to the carburetor right here in this little zigzag. It's not gonna, I don't think it's gonna block off much. I think this is gonna be okay. I don't have to be all the way over there. I can fudge just a little bit and be about here. You can see my blue line. I can do that. I can be off by ½ an inch in the center of the hood. I think that's going to be okay. I can cut the whole square to the hood and still have a ½ inch play in there. You also want enough gap on the sides where the hole in the hood is, so when the engine revs and it rocks a little bit, it doesn't bang the side of your hood. Yeah, I think that'll be fine. I think I can push it right up against the edge of that lip and make that where my location is going to be. It's going to help. I'm also wanting a gap between the air filter and the top of the edge of this. So this cylinder might not be, I might dish the bottom pan here instead of being flat. I might dish it, and then that will cut down the distance here and give me more air gap to my air filter. That's going to make things a little more complicated, but I think I can do this. Let me get my little knife out and some cardboard, get to cutting, and see what I can create. I can do this. I just keep telling myself that. Okay, so this is the idea. I've got a piece of cardboard cut to fit inside this, and I've drawn a line on here how far this sat down inside of this ring, so I know how much to cut off, because that gets me back down to this level. And so I'm going to have to trim that, but that's to be no problem. I cut a piece of cardboard to fit inside the perimeter of this. I've placed this where I think it's got to be, right up against that edge, and I kind of got the center of this. Now what I've done is I've drawn a line from the corner to the center of that circle that I've drawn here, and I did that on all four. I aimed that line straight to the corner so that all of these are kind of equally bowing in. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to take this knife and I'm going to cut down these lines and remake these pieces. And when I remake these pieces, I'm going to go from drawing this new piece out to from right here against this corner, and on this piece I'm going to draw this line, let's say 1/4 inch extra. And when I do that, that's going to give more gap here, making it want to sandwich up. And then I'll have a tapered bottom. And it's a little bit of work, but it's just cardboard I'm going to be throwing away anyways. So let me do that. I'm going to cut all this out, cut out new pieces that are just a little longer, and try to tape them together and set it down in here and see if it sets in here tight and lifts up the center where this hole is going to be. Let's see. Okay, I've got these pieces kind of cut out. I still have the circle here, but just to test out my theory, I've got these two pieces laying in there where they belong, and I'm just going to lift them up, leave this edge against the metal and leave this edge against the metal, and when I lift these two up, I get a gap right here. So I add a little bit to this one, add a little bit to this one, and it gives me the shape I'm wanting. So this is going to work. I just have to now take this template, add 1/4 inch here, and taper it down to nothing. And the same here to there. I wrote on these pieces so I know which. This one goes on the driver's side, it's got a D. This one goes on the front, it goes to F. The rear passenger side's got a P, and so on. So just like that. And then it's going to be tapered up. I like this. This is going to work. Okay, so I'm down to my last tape. What I've actually done was, once I taped the top side of this one, and I found out that the tape doesn't want to bend this way because the thickness of the cardboard's fighting itself, I could either do one of two things. I could bevel cut the back edge of this to where it would give it room, or I just transfer this line that is the circumference of the air cleaner and transfer it to the back side, flip it over, and just run the tape there. This way it folds on the tape. Real nice. Alright, so I've got 3 of them put together. All I've got to do is take these 2 transferred lines, let you see, take these 2 transferred lines, and I'm going to draw this thing together. And when that happens like that, and I'll tape it, it naturally gives me the bow I wanted. So there, let's just tape that together. Just hold it like so, get my tape out, tape one side, and then bow it together like so, yeah, and make into the tape. Now the only problem I'm having is this crease that came in the cardboard box. When I cut it out, it's still got that crease. I want that to lay flat. So I'm going to kind of be setting it down and pushing down on those 2. And that's going to give me this. Let's get the air cleaner over here and see how this works. I might actually go ahead and tape the top side to see if I can't re-support it some more. Alright. Okay, it fits a little better. I'd like to add a little bit to a couple spots and then take away some on the others. It actually does fit down in there if I hold these 2 parts that want to bow up. So what I'm doing is making templates for flat steel to be cut and then welded together like this. So one other thing I have to take in mind is there are 6 spots in the bottom of this where I can bolt this on. So I got to be paying attention to get a mark on each of those spots to where I can drill, tap, and put in where this will work. Yeah, I like this. So I've taken this thing here and put it on here, and have drawn this holds a good round circle where this I can oval it up and make a bad mark. Now I've got a mark to cut to. I need to cut that hole out to see if this slides down in it. So that's the next step, sliding that down in there. I like the void I'm creating here, and it's not only lifting it up, but it's scooting it to the side. We're going to get this put together, and I'll get it back on the car, see if I've centered this thing up. Okay, I think I'm really close. I still have to hold things down because the cardboard likes to bow upward, and I have to push down on this, and this is very tight tolerances over here, right where this meets the edge. So this actually turned into 2 pieces on this side, where these are all 1 piece. Now, whenever doing this, I've noticed that there's a couple of spots I trimmed just a little too much. A good example is going to be this front edge. I've got a little gap right here, and it's touching here. So I know I've got some variances and stuff like that. On the cardboard, I will write whatever the distance in gap that is. I'll draw a line back onto the cardboard the same distance, and that is a note telling myself lengthen this corner by that much. And if it's only halfway down, this is where I'll draw a line touching the edge and varying off to the 1/4 inch. So I know from here to there it's got to taper another 1/4 inch out. And my template's not exact, but it's going to be really close. One thing I'm going to know is the cardboard I'm using is, well, that thick. And is that the same thickness that steel's going to be? So whenever you're converting this over to steel, if it's thinner, you're going to have a little bit of difference whenever it comes to these sizes. So cut it large and grind it to fit. And that way you get a really tight fitting, good piece on your car. Now, I've got that in. That's exactly what needs to stick out of the bottom of the car. So now with this tube, I can actually draw a line where these meet, this little Humpty-Doo thing going, and I can cut to fit that also. I really don't want to do that. I want to draw this line here, and then I'm going to cut it a 1/4 inch down further. This way this sticks inside, and what I'm welding to is this, not two edges coming together exactly. It's harder to weld that. You're easier to burn it and blow through and blow a bigger hole in it. If you're like this, it's easy to weld into that and they would all stay together. So design wise, I'm going to use everything I can at it. So with that done, I like this, and this is where it's going to sit. I'm going to throw some tape on this all the way around, tape it to the actual thing and everything, tape this to this, and I'm going to set it on the car. I'm going to see if that puts it where I want it. So throw some tape on, let's go see what it looks like on the car. Okay, now we got it on the car. Let's see how it lines up. Yeah, it seems like it has moved further towards the passenger side. So what I have done is I have goofed and built the thing the wrong direction. So, all right, we get to take all that back apart and flip it around and put it back together. It's not gonna be hard. We're just talking about some extra tape, and we will have this thing back together. Yeah, okay, round 2, here we go. We were so close. Yeah, real funny. So what I'm gonna do is I'm just gonna cut this tape that's holding it to, and I've just got to invert is all this is. I think all of the hard work is done. Now I would just peel this tape off, but what's happening is the cardboard, when you peel the tape off, loses a layer of the cardboard and it's deteriorating the cardboards, and yeah, I don't want that. So what I'm going to do is just cut the tape and leave the tape on the cardboard. Now, so all I'm going to do is invert the tape. So now it's going to sit like this. I just got to cut all these, retape it. And just like that, I'm almost back together again. I just have to get this one last corner, and it has actually saved me from heartache because this last corner I've separated here, and it's not as hard to fight to get it to come back together. But yeah, so yeah. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to bring my air cleaner up here, set this in the air cleaner. I'm just pushing the excess tape around the corners and stuff. Bring my air cleaner back up. I messed up again. Okay, so what I wanted to do was taped the bottom sides, which was the top, now the bottom. I taped the top first. I gotta tape the bottom first, then tape the top. So I get to cut these back off, redo that. We'll do that real quick. Ready, go. Yep, just like that. It's been inverted. The magic of TV and internet, or whatever you want. Okay, so I'm gonna set this back in here. Tight as it is. Come on, get in there. You can do it, little cardboard. Yeah, now all I have to do is tape it. It'd be good. Tape it with that in it. Won't take but a second. Ready? Bam. Okay, so now we're over here, and I don't think we're off too much at all. Maybe just a little straightening up here, like that. And I like that a lot. I like that a lot better. You can see underneath how it's offset, but up top it's really not that bad. So I'm not completely on the center line. If you can follow the tape and look at the center fin, you can tell I'm just beside it. That center fin should be right in the center of the tape if it's going to be in the center of the hood. The hole in the hood's going to have to be extra wide on this side for this mechanism, and I think that's going to be great. It won't be very hard for me to push that over just a little more. I think I'm getting the best of both worlds, and being just that much off center, it's going to take someone with a really sharp eye to see that it's off center. I think I like this. I think this is going to be fine. So now it's just a matter of doing some measurements, because I have moved it back this many inches, and it's going to be that much closer to the back of the hood, and I've got to do measurements on where this actually sits now, so whenever I cut the hole in the hood, it's going to fit that. And it's all has to be done after I've made that piece. Now, I don't know if you've seen earlier, I was holding on to a couple of brackets on the bottom of this air cleaner, and those brackets won't reach any of the intake bolts or even this bolt here. So I'm going to have to get creative and figure out how I'm going to make a bracket come off of that and land on one of those bolts to help stabilize this, because you can imagine there's going to be 70, 80 mile an hour winds hitting this, and it's going to want to tilt backwards. Just like taking your hat off when it's a windy day, that wind's going to just rip it right off my car. So I've got to really bolt it down good, and I think I can do that. Those are just easy straps that you just drill holes in and bend them to fit, and I've got that. I can do that, no problem. All right, so that's just about it on this. I'm going to have to put together something with some sheet metal and get to welding, and I'm probably going to have to do that on the next episode. If y'all have any suggestions, any comments, something that y'all would like to suggest that might make this job a little easier, go ahead and throw it down there in the comments. We'll see what I can do to incorporate what you are thinking. I might have to ask you questions to explain to me exactly what you were meaning, but hey, nevertheless, I'd like to find a better way, or if y'all know of somewhere that there's actually a part out there for this, then hey, shoot it in the comments so I can get a hold of it, and I'll test it out and see if it fits on this car. And that's gonna look great. I love this air cleaner. I hope I get many years out of it. There's one last thing I'd like to look at. Let me flip you around and do it. Okay, one other thing that I'm going to have to fabricate for this thing, because everybody knows that that thing is just open air being forced right into the intake, and we all know that you can't drive that in the rain. It's going to just force air down your carburetor, it's going to stall out, and you're done. So something I'm looking at doing is creating some type of cap to go on the front of it, and this cap's going to just snap on but allow air around it. That's what I'm looking for, and if any of y'all know of anything that fits that model of air cleaner, I'd love to hear about it. So far, all I've found is a Willwood or Haywood or something, and it's a vinyl elastic one that goes on hood scoops. And that's the fiberglass hood scoops that glues to your hood. Now this thing doesn't, it needs air. So I'm thinking of trying to get something to where I can clip it on and it won't move around, but it has an air gap that allows air to get across the top, back around, and go in. And that's my goal. That way I don't have to modify the hood even more. So plan B is going to be wherever I cut this hood. I'm going to draw a little line here. Let's say this is where the line is. That's where I'm going to cut the hood for this air intake to sit here. I might have to create something that bolts onto the bottom of the hood and comes out about here and curves up and goes over the scoop itself. And this is something I can bolt on just by lifting the hood, some wing nuts, put it on, shut the hood back, and then it will be taking air from underneath the hood. That sounds like a great idea, but it's going to require a lot of craftsmanship on my part to cut the hole in the hood right, build this thing to where it looks decent, doesn't look like junk that you just glued together junk. And I want to fit the car styling. So yeah, that's going to take a lot of work. I don't know. If y'all have any suggestions, go ahead, throw that down in the comments also. But I think that's going to be the end of this episode. I do have a few things on next week's episode that I'm working on. I'm going to have to order the air filter I'm looking for so that I can build the bracket for it to hold it down tight and get a good air seal so it'll go inside there nice. But until then, I'll see y'all next week. And as always, y'all have a good weekend.